Welcome to the Ask an Aggie podcast, where we're exploring the ins and outs of college life here in College Station. We want you to have the best college experience you can, so listen in as we dive into relevant topics that will help you navigate this new and exciting stage of life.
What's up, guys? Welcome to the Ask an Aggie podcast. My name is Asher. I got Jordan with me.
Yeah, and excited to be back in season 2 of Ask an Aggie podcast, answering the questions you need answered from people that live here in College Station and have been through it.
Absolutely.
So today is going to be a conversation that's a little further in your tenure, but I think it's still an important conversation to think about. And so we want to talk about changing your major. And so Asher, you started as
I started as a marketing major.
What'd you finish as?
A marketing major.
Way to go!
And so I didn't experience this one, so I guess it doesn't make a ton of sense to interview me, but I guess I'll be interviewing you today because what did you start out as?
So I started as a chemical engineer because you're supposed to be an engineer, right? That's what your STEM schools tell you. Yeah. Everybody should be an engineer if you like math and science. What I learned really quickly is I didn't like being an engineer. The jobs weren't interesting. The math and application of it did not fit me very well at all.
I think if you appearing on a podcast is any indication, you are not meant to be.
I didn't do engineering. So I switched my major my sophomore year, fall of sophomore year, but really knew it was going to happen late freshman year.
Okay.
And so, it was an idea that, to be honest with you, I struggled with. It felt like pride did not want to be the statistic.
Yeah.
Because they're going to tell you at New Student Conference and all this, so many people start in engineering and so many people can't cut it.
Yeah.
I could cut it.
Yeah.
I want you to know today, I could cut it. I had 3.93
Yeah, it's
GPA.
very important that you freshmen, class of 2025, who are, I don't know, probably 15 years younger, know that he could cut it.
I am 32 years old and I could have done it. I didn't want to do it. And so, no, I realized when I was looking at it, my brain just didn't excite me or interest me. And so I remember being scared, having to get over pride, and just realizing this isn't for me. I think the best thing that I did is I powered through and still did an internship after my freshman year.
Yeah.
And so I worked in a paper plant in the middle of nowhere. It was not a great experience. I learned later that my parents were in tears dropping me off there because it was on the side of a highway with 3 random dudes from different schools that I was living with in the middle of backwoods Alabama.
Everything you've ever hoped for.
Yeah.
Every little boy's dream.
Yeah. There was a little bitty Piggly Wiggly, and that was about it. I don't
Piggly
even know if y'all know about Piggly Wiggly.
I've seen the outside of a Piggly Wiggly.
Okay.
It's a grocery store.
It's a grocery store, and that is where I would have to go. And so it just further confirmed that was not for me. But I guess we just want to talk about how many of your friends, Asher, would you say have changed their majors or seriously considered it?
So many of them. At least one of my roommates. I can think of, I could probably list 10 people off the top of my head that have changed their majors. And as I think about it, I don't think any of them changed their major because they couldn't cut it.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, it does happen.
Sure.
You get in, you're like, okay, well, engineering is just not for me.
Yeah.
And so there is that, opportunity where, I'm failing all of my classes. Maybe my mind is not built for that kind of thing. And so that is, a conversation you might have to have. But I know a lot of people who change their major because they, similar story. I started engineering, not for me. I realized that a lot of it was, I'm doing this because of my pride. I want to do it because, that's what looks good. But
it makes the most money.
Yeah, but I'm really doing computer engineering when what I want to actually do is work with students and with computers and teach or something like that. And so it happens all the time, people changing majors. But I think there is a good way to go about it.
Yeah, and so I wrestled through the conversation for a while.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what to do, and so eventually I talked with my parents, and I talked with some mentors around and just said, here is what I think I need to be doing. And I felt a call to ministry, and so that was kind of on the forefront, and I was like, I need to chase this, but I also need a major, and I need to graduate with a degree. And so I looked, and I was in Cal 3 at the time, and I was like, well, I've always enjoyed teaching, and I can communicate things clearly, fairly well, I guess. That was a bad sentence to communicate, but whatever.
Really showing off here.
I know. Flexing on them.
Yeah, just kind of flexing on them.
So I switched to education, and I went from prestige of, at that time, chemical engineering was the most prestigious of engineering, to being a teacher.
Yeah.
And so I think the only thing worse would have been a history teacher than a math teacher, because then you're just a coach, right?
Yeah,
I think they get to wear gym shorts every day. But anyways, I switched to math education and really just was confirmed very quickly that this is what I need to be doing. And so what I had to do is I had to look at, what do I love doing?
Yeah.
What am I passionate about? And what could I see myself doing? I taught 1 year, so I don't continue to do it. But I could also, even now, go, man, I'd love to go get in a classroom and do that. And so there was laying down a pride, there was giving up a prestige, it was a cut in pay, and all those things. But you're the one that has to work the job.
Yeah. Yeah, and so you said, you're looking for what you're passionate about. And we'll push back just a little bit because I was not passionate about anything.
Okay.
I have a degree in marketing now. I'm still not passionate about marketing. Granted, that's not the field I'm going into. But I think in some instance, pick something that you could see yourself doing and then just commit. At some point, you do have to commit. There is, you can change your major once or twice. But at some point, just commit to something. And as you get deeper, then you'll grow a passion for that. When I started in band in 6th grade, I wasn't passionate about music. But 8 years later, I'd been in band all through high school, all that kind of stuff. I developed a passion for it.
There's an appreciation and an understanding of it. And yeah, there's kind of a point where probably junior year, midway through especially, you probably just need to graduate.
Yeah, you probably
you're probably hurting yourself, because at the end of the day, I'd love for you to ask a few people, how many people even work the job that they have their major in?
Yeah, that's a huge thing.
And so you're choosing a major, but you're not choosing your next 40 years necessarily.
Exactly. Yeah.
And even if you graduate with a degree in engineering, it doesn't mean that 5 years from now you're still an engineer. You may go, man, I want to go and teach, or man, I want to go back and do research or whatever.
Yeah, it'd be silly to think that the decision that we make when we're 18 years old is going to firmly set the course for the rest of your life. But as you go through this, and hey, maybe first semester you realize this is not for me.
Yeah.
That's a valid thing. And so a couple things I would say is, one, don't just go to your advisor the next day and switch. You're going to kind of feel like you have this conflict and it needs to be resolved today. Talk about it with your community, talk about it with your friends, and especially with your parents, and especially if they're paying. Get some advice from them. Seek advice from people who are older than you, who've been through it, and don't just make the decision on a whim. Do it slowly. Don't rush it. But at the end of the day, if this is a decision you need to make, it's a decision you need to make. Don't feel bad about that.
Yeah. So I began thinking through it fall of freshman year and didn't change for a year.
Yeah.
Here's what I lost in that time. I graduated in 4 years on time. I did all of that sort of stuff. Nothing kept me back. I just lost the ability to take fun electives. Yeah. So my electives were more engineering things. And when you talk about, Asher took a fencing class this spring.
Yeah.
So, I didn't get any of those things.
Yeah, for sure.
I didn't have anything really fun. But you know what? I was able to choose a major. I didn't waste hours. I didn't waste time. I didn't lengthen my time here. And it worked out. So really take some time. Don't just immediately flip and change. Because there's going to be prereqs and there's going to be co-reqs and it's just going to get messy.
Yeah. So, it gets difficult the further you go on.
Yeah.
I guess that brings you open to analysis in that first couple semesters.
Yeah.
Think of it kind of as a trial period. Hey, this first semester, I'm going to get to learn a lot, especially with these, like, if you're an engineering major, there's going to be an engineering seminar class. I'm going to learn a lot about the opportunities in engineering. And so use that time kind of as, okay, well, if it's going to happen, it's hopefully going to happen in this first year that I'm going to change my major. So, keep your eyes open and just look for the opportunities, understand what you're getting into. If you are an architecture major because you have some dream of what you saw on TV from some architect show, be realistic.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, just keep your eyes open for those things.
Yep. Do what you can do. Do it well. Try to find something you're going to enjoy. Doesn't mean every day is a great day at the job. But go and do that. Pursue it. Seek wisdom. And graduate.
Yeah.
That's the big thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
well, guys, I hope this has been helpful as we kind of, just wrestled through this topic and we kind of fumble over our words and try to do something cohesive.
This may be one to bookmark and to look at later in the semester, honestly.
So we thank you guys for listening, and as always, if you have questions for us, just reach out, Instagram or whatever. We want to answer your questions, and we want to be a resource for you. But until then, we'll catch you next time.